Phew, you made it. You have gone deep dive into your messy spots. You've organized some projects. You've used those tracking sheets to help you find the next step. And materials maybe that you needed, as well as sewed just a little bit this weekend. Moving, of course, all those projects forward. Today, we're going to celebrate your accomplishments along with the other quilters from the challenge Just Like You. We're also going to explore how you can keep motivated and not lose interest and let that frustration and guilt back in. You were able to take things day by day, move through organizing your sewing table, your cutting mat, your pressing area. You also took a look at those hot spots and piles and dig into whatever is actually there. Once you had those piles a little bit under control, it was all about using those tracking sheets, as well as those handy dandy ebook that we supplied you with, all about using your leftover quilt blocks. You're feeling pretty good about the challenge and what you've accomplished. I'm hoping you took the time to use those tracking sheets, that bonus workbook, if you pick that up, as well as that ebook. That's what makes the OPC work so well. In addition to the printables, the support from that community in the Facebook group, and your accountability buddy allows you to keep focused and on each task and get those projects moving forward. Just like one of our previous challengers who said, I joined the OPC hoping to tackle some of the unfinished projects that I had piling up. Not only did I get some of those projects done, but I met people on Zoom sew along. We shared projects and ideas while sewing along. Becky takes time to check on how things are going on a regular basis and does live broadcasts, which helps to keep you moving forward and inspires you to try new things. Her pleasant way makes joining in a lot of fun, and she shared an ebook full of ideas for my leftover quilt blocks. I made several different projects from the ebook. I highly recommend joining the challenge. I promise you will not be disappointed. And Nancy jumped back into the block of the month that she was behind on, and she used the tracking sheets to lay out the next steps as she was stuck in the February month of the block of the month. And lastly, there was Charmaine, who gathered up all of her quilt blocks from a Sears catalog collection and finished them into a fun table topper quilt. Now that you have a good handle on your sewing space and some of your projects, let's dive into what to do with all that fabric that was hidden amongst those piles. Maybe you found a pile of leftover scraps from other projects. Maybe you found that long lost, forgotten fabric for a specific quilt, but because you couldn't find it, you already bought something different. And of course, now you don't need it anymore. And don't get me started on the scraps. I tend to push my little bits off to the edges of the cutting mat, only to find them underneath a bunch of piles of projects. And really, I'm done with the quilt top. I don't need them any longer. Where do they go? So maybe you have found a pile of leftover scraps from other projects, just like I had said. Here's the thing with scraps. You really never find the bottom of the pile. They continue to grow and accumulate. There's no way of getting around this. But every once in a while, you focus on the pile and getting them into a new quilt or fun project. Inside the IAQ, we have a mystery quilt every year. This year, it's happening in October. This is where we focus on one quilt pattern, which is exclusive to the group. We sew together, and by the end of the week, we have a finished quilt top. I know you're thinking that really you're like a slow sewer, or might be it takes you longer to sew, or you have a hard time picking fabric, whatever. But really, the week is long enough, and with daily sewing steps released to keep you on track, you will have it finished. This year, our mystery quilt is all about using those scraps. Man, I'm super excited about this quilt, but it being a mystery, I'm not really in a position to tell you more about it other than it's kind of sitting right there by my legs. I'm being totally mean and horrible, teasing like that and not telling you anything about it other than trust me. What I can say is that you will need a good amount of scraps. And then, of course, one color that you choose as your focus, with another color being your background. But the focus fabric can also be a collection of scraps. Remember that pile that you found underneath those other project piles on your cutting mat. Now, what size are these scraps that I'm thinking of? Well, the pattern uses your smallest pieces as well as those random fat quarters you have sitting around. While those you may not think are scraps, I'm calling them scraps because you bought them randomly. I do this all the time. I love it. It comes home with me and I put it right here and so I can see it, but then I really actually never end up using it. So you'll need scraps and then scraps that are focused on one color plus your background. The mystery, which is a quilting bee inside my online quilt group, the IAQ, which stands for International Association of Quilters. We will be opening in a few short days for new members to join us. Once you become a member, you'll have access to all the videos, the PDF pattern, as well as the community and our all-day sew day for this mystery quilting bee. In addition to the mystery quilting bee, you'll have access to the videos from the OPC, as well as those tracking sheets and the workbook as long as you are a member. Plus, because you're an IAQ member, you'll get a discount on the annual quilt retreat happening in November. Super sweet, cannot wait. Inside the IAQ, we have a year-long block of the month, which a new pattern is coming in January that I've been working on, and it's not been shown quite yet, but that should be coming shortly. You have access to our technique and Notion mini classes, as well as all of our community activities. Those are the best. Just to give you a quick rundown of them, the block of the month is exclusive to members only. It's not available in my shop. We typically have one per year, but sometimes we sneak in another one. You'll find topics like applique, paper piecing, English paper piecing, quilt as you go, machine quilting inside the Technique and Notion mini classes, as well as a few classes on specific quilting rulers or notions like the pineapple ruler and the mini QCR. You may have these rulers sitting in your desk drawers, excited at first when you bought them, of course, but now you can't really remember how to use them and you don't have a project for them. So these mini classes will walk you through using them as well as quick pattern to sew up while learning. Last but definitely not least, it's my all-time favorite, are the community activities. This is really where we have fun with our quilt members. These include swaps, monthly in-person meetups using Zoom, the OPC, which is the challenge, and of course our quilting bees, like the mystery one coming in October. You are going to fit right in and continue your momentum of sewing and feeling inspired to explore new techniques and of course, build friendships. The IAQ is not about your experience or size of quilt room. It's about connecting you with other quilters, giving you some fun activities to participate in, and of course, sew along when it fits your schedule. The IAQ was started when I found my schedule full of kids' activities, sports, and other activities that really, they took priority over me going to my local quilt group. I actually had joined 3, so I would hit at least a few per month. I really miss the interaction, the monthly activities, and catching up with others. I was truly frustrated in the situation, so I began the IAQ. And today I can only say how happy I am that I did that. We just moved our family 5 hours away from the area that we had lived in over 16 years. I'm no longer able to attend my local quilt group. Of course, I'm still connected with them because we do have friendships, but I'm not able to meet in person any longer. Not only that, but with health concerns of many of our members, the IAQ was the only outlet for chatting quilting during 2020 and now again during this year. It seriously has been a lifesaver for my personal quilting soul. So thanks again for joining me during the OPC. Now, watch your email for the opportunity to join us. Until then, gather your scraps for our mystery quilt that I'm thinking that you are going to love with a capital L. The name of the quilt I will share is Cabin Under the Stars, to give you a short little hint about it. But remember, you will need scraps plus one focus color, which can be a collection of scraps as well, and your background. So until then, happy digging through those scraps, and I hope to see you at the Mystery Quilt Quilting Bee.